There are concert moments that fans remember for a few days, moments that become viral clips for a few weeks, and then there are moments that seem to capture the entire spirit of a tour in a single unforgettable performance. For ARMY, the Dynamite cowboy dance moment featuring Jimin and BTS felt like exactly that kind of moment. The instant the familiar energy of Dynamite began filling the stadium, the atmosphere changed completely. Thousands upon thousands of fans were already on their feet, but when Jimin stepped into the spotlight and brought his playful cowboy-inspired dance energy to the performance, the reaction became something much bigger than a normal concert cheer. The stadium erupted. Screams rolled through the venue from one side to the other. Fans raised their light sticks, phones went into the air, and the entire crowd appeared to move with the rhythm. And at the center of it all was Jimin. What made the moment so entertaining was not simply the choreography itself. It was the combination of Jimin's charisma, BTS's group chemistry, the infectious rhythm of Dynamite, and the playful Western-inspired flavor that gave the performance a completely different personality. Jimin has always possessed an unusual ability to make choreography look effortless. Even when the movement is energetic, there is a sense of control in the way he uses his shoulders, arms, facial expressions, and precise footwork. During this performance, that quality became especially noticeable. The cowboy-inspired movements gave him an opportunity to show a lighter and more mischievous side of his stage personality. Instead of presenting the performance as something overly serious, Jimin appeared to embrace the fun of the concept. And ARMY immediately responded. The cheers became louder. The smiles became wider. The cameras came out faster. For many fans watching from the audience, it was the kind of sequence that made it almost impossible to remain seated. Dynamite itself has always been associated with celebration, confidence, and pure pop energy. Its bright sound creates an atmosphere where the audience naturally wants to sing, dance, and participate. But when Jimin added that distinctive cowboy dance flavor, the performance suddenly felt like a giant party. The choreography seemed to invite the entire stadium to join. That was perhaps the most impressive part. The performance did not feel confined to the stage. It felt as though the energy was traveling outward. From the front rows to the farthest sections of the stadium, fans were reacting together. One scream triggered another. One section began dancing, and another section followed. For a performer, creating that kind of collective reaction is incredibly difficult. For Jimin, however, these moments have become one of the defining characteristics of his stage presence. He does not simply execute choreography, he communicates. Every movement has personality, every glance can become a moment, every small gesture can generate a reaction. And during the Dynamite cowboy dance, that communication appeared to happen almost instantly. The audience understood exactly what kind of energy Jimin was bringing. It was playful, it was confident, it was charismatic. And above all, it was fun. The members of BTS also contributed to the atmosphere. Rather than making the performance feel like a solo spotlight moment, the group dynamic gave the sequence additional energy. BTS's ability to perform as a team has always been one of their greatest strengths, and Dynamite provides an especially strong example of that chemistry. Each member brings a different personality to the stage. When those personalities come together, the performance becomes larger than any individual moment. Jimin's dance became one of the highlights, but the reaction belonged to the entire stadium. The audience was not merely watching BTS, they were participating in the experience. That distinction matters. A concert can be technically perfect and still feel emotionally distant. But when an artist manages to make tens of thousands of people feel like they are part of the performance, something special happens. That was the feeling surrounding this moment. As the music continued, the cowboy-inspired choreography created a playful contrast with the polished precision that audiences normally expect from a major BTS performance. Jimin seemed to understand exactly how to use that contrast. He could move with precision one second, and then add a cheeky expression or exaggerated gesture the next. Those small details are often what fans remember most. It is easy to focus on large choreography. But sometimes a tiny movement becomes the moment everyone talks about afterward. A head turn, a smile, a shoulder movement, a playful gesture toward the crowd, a perfectly timed reaction from another member. These details can transform an ordinary performance into a memorable one, and ARMY knows how to recognize them. Within moments, fans were reacting to every little thing. The atmosphere became increasingly electric. The stadium lights, thousands of light sticks, massive screens, and collective screaming created an almost cinematic scene. Then came another burst of energy from the stage, and the crowd answered immediately. This back-and-forth relationship between BTS and ARMY is one of the most remarkable aspects of the group's live performances. The members perform. The audience responds. The response gives the members more energy. The members give even more energy back. And the cycle continues until the entire venue feels alive. During the Dynamite cowboy dance, that cycle appeared to reach another level. Jimin's performance became a trigger for the audience. The more playful his movements became, the louder the cheers became. The louder the cheers became, the more energetic the stage felt. And suddenly, the entire stadium seemed to be participating in one giant celebration. For longtime fans, there was also something nostalgic about seeing Dynamite performed with such overwhelming enthusiasm. The song became a global phenomenon because of its joyful character. It represented a moment when music crossed borders and brought people together through a simple message of happiness and movement. Hearing it inside a packed stadium creates a different kind of impact. Instead of listening through headphones or speakers, fans experience the song collectively. Every beat is surrounded by thousands of voices. Every chorus becomes a massive sing-along. Every dance movement is amplified by the audience. And Jimin's cowboy-inspired performance added another memorable visual layer to that experience. It was not merely about dancing. It was about creating a moment that people could feel. Jimin's facial expressions were particularly important. One of his greatest strengths as a performer is his ability to shift his expression according to the mood of the music. During more dramatic BTS performances, he can create an intense and emotional atmosphere. But with Dynamite, he can completely change his energy. The result is a brighter, more playful Jimin. That version of Jimin is incredibly popular with ARMY because it allows fans to see another side of his personality. There is a natural charm in the way he approaches playful choreography. He does not appear to be forcing the humor. Instead, the humor comes naturally from his confidence and timing. That is what made the cowboy concept work so well. A cowboy-inspired dance could easily become gimmicky. But Jimin's charisma gave it personality. He was not simply wearing the concept. He was performing it. And that distinction was visible in the audience reaction. The stadium did not respond because the choreography was unusual. The stadium responded because Jimin made the choreography entertaining. BTS performances often demonstrate how choreography can become storytelling. Even a simple gesture can communicate attitude. The Dynamite cowboy dance was a perfect example. The movement suggested confidence, playfulness, and a little bit of theatrical swagger. Jimin leaned into that personality. The result was a performance that felt spontaneous even though every major movement was carefully rehearsed. That is one of the secrets of great live performance. The audience should not see the rehearsal. They should see the moment. They should feel as though the performer is creating the experience specifically for them. Jimin has a natural ability to create that illusion. When he looks toward the audience, fans often feel as though the moment is personal. When he smiles, thousands of people react as if they have just received a special greeting. And when he performs an unexpected variation on familiar choreography, fans immediately notice. That emotional connection is one reason his dance moments regularly become major talking points among ARMY. The Dynamite cowboy dance was no exception. Fans were not simply talking about how well Jimin danced. They were talking about how the entire stadium reacted. That is an important difference. A technically impressive dance can earn admiration, but a dance that makes an entire stadium scream becomes an experience. And that is exactly what made this moment so powerful. Imagine standing inside the venue. The lights are moving across the audience. Thousands of people are holding glowing light sticks. The music begins. The opening sounds of Dynamite fill the stadium. The crowd immediately recognizes what is coming. People begin screaming before the first major choreography sequence even arrives. Then Jimin appears with that unmistakable stage presence. The cowboy-inspired movement begins. The reaction is immediate. One section screams, then another. Then the entire venue seems to explode. For fans in the stadium, this is the kind of moment where hearing the music is no longer enough. You feel it through the floor. You feel it through the crowd. You feel the sound physically moving around you. And that is what makes a stadium concert so different from watching a performance on a screen. A video can show you Jimin's dance. It can show you his expressions. It can show you the choreography. But it cannot completely reproduce the sensation of being surrounded by tens of thousands of people reacting at exactly the same time. That collective energy is unique. The Dynamite cowboy dance became memorable because it combined both sides of the experience. There was the visual spectacle on stage, and there was the emotional spectacle happening in the audience. Together, they created something much larger. It also demonstrated why Dynamite remains such a powerful concert song. Its upbeat rhythm gives performers enormous freedom to interact with the crowd. There is room for smiles. There is room for playful gestures. There is room for dancing. There is room for improvisational energy. And Jimin knows how to use that freedom. His performance did not feel rigid. It felt alive. That is perhaps the best compliment that can be given to a live performance. It felt alive. Every second appeared to have its own personality. The audience's reaction also seemed to encourage the performers. That feedback loop is visible during major concerts. When an artist hears an enormous cheer after a particular move, they can feel the difference.